What would you do if you had a dream, but absolutely nothing to start with? No money, no connections, no guarantee that you would succeed. Most people would give up before even trying. But not Leo. Leo was 20 years old and lived in a small mountain town where life moved slowly and opportunities moved even slower. His father spent every day fixing broken cars in a tiny garage. By evening, his hands were black with oil and his shoulders heavy with exhaustion. His mother cleaned other people's homes just so the family could survive another week. Leo watched all of this growing up. And one night, sitting outside under a cold sky full of stars, he made a silent promise to himself. One day, I will change this. The next morning, he told his father about his dream. Mark listened carefully, wiped the grease from his hands, and said something that would stay with Leo forever. Dreams are not free, son. If you want something better, you must work for it. Leo thought about those words all day. And then he noticed something strange. People in his town loved fresh bread. But the nearest bakery was miles away. Most families simply went without it. At that moment, a small idea appeared in Leo's mind. What if I bring the bread to them? There was only one problem. Leo had no money. Still, he walked miles to the nearest bakery owned by a serious old baker named Mr. Anderson. Leo stood in front of him and spoke honestly. "Sir, I want to sell your bread in my town. I don't have money to buy it first, but give me 1 week. I will sell it, return your money, and keep only a small profit." The old baker looked at him carefully. "And why should I trust you?" Leo answered without hesitation. "Because I'm willing to work harder than anyone else." For a moment, the room went silent. Then Mr. Anderson sighed. "1 week," he said. "Don't come back if you fail." The next morning, before sunrise, Leo carried a heavy basket of bread all the way back to town. He placed a small table near the park and started calling out to strangers, "Fresh bread! Warm bread!" People walked past him. No one stopped. 10 minutes passed. 30 minutes passed. Still nothing. For a moment, doubt crept into his mind. Maybe this was a mistake. But Leo refused to quit. Instead, he began offering free samples. One person stopped, then another, then another. Soon a small crowd formed around his table. By sunset, the basket was empty. Leo ran back to the bakery and placed the money on the counter. Mr. Anderson looked at it quietly. "You kept your word." That was the beginning. Every morning at 4 o'clock, Leo walked miles to the bakery. He carried bread back to town and sold it with energy and honesty. Weeks passed. Months passed. Eventually, he saved enough money to buy a small cart. But then something unexpected happened. One customer said something that changed Leo's life. "You're great at selling bread," the man said. "But if you learn to bake it yourself, you could build something much bigger." The idea excited Leo, but it also scared him, because Leo had never baked anything before. Still, he gathered the courage to ask Mr. Anderson for help. At first, the old baker refused. "If I teach you," he said, "you will become my competitor." Leo replied calmly, "You gave me my first chance. I'll never forget that." After a long pause, Mr. Anderson finally agreed. And that's when the real struggle began. Every morning at 3 o'clock, Leo stood inside the bakery learning to mix flour, knead dough, and control the ovens. At first, his bread was terrible. Too hard, too soft. Sometimes completely burned. One night after ruining another batch, Leo sat alone on the floor staring at the failed bread in front of him. "Maybe I'm not meant for this," he whispered. But then he remembered his father's words. Dreams are not free. So the next morning he came back, and the next, and the next. Slowly, he improved. Until one day Mr. Anderson tasted a loaf and smiled. "You're ready." Leo began baking bread at home. His family joined him in the effort. His little sister helped pack the bread. His mother stayed awake late into the night helping him. Soon Leo wasn't just selling bread, he was selling cookies, pastries, sweet rolls. People loved them. Everything was finally going well. But then life tested him again. A brand new bakery opened in town. It was bigger, brighter, more attractive. Customers rushed there out of curiosity. Leo watched his sales fall. Fear whispered in his mind, "What if I lose everything?" But instead of quitting, Leo improved. He listened to customers. He learned cake decoration from books. He repainted his cart and made it brighter. Slowly, customers returned. Months later, Leo opened his first small shop. He named it Leo's Fresh Bakes. The bakery quickly became the heart of the town. But just when everything seemed stable, disaster struck. One stormy night, a fire started near the oven. By the time Leo stopped the flames, much of the bakery was destroyed. The next morning, he stood outside the burnt shop in silence. Some people whispered that it was the end, but Leo shook his head. "I started with nothing," he said quietly. "I can start again." So he did. He baked from home, worked longer hours, sold smaller batches, and when the town saw his determination, something incredible happened. They helped him. Some brought ingredients, some helped repair the shop, some donated tools. Months later, Leo reopened the bakery, stronger than ever. At the grand reopening, the town's mayor said something powerful. "Success does not belong to the lucky. It belongs to those who refuse to quit." Leo looked at the crowd and smiled. "Nothing in life comes free," he said. "But if you're willing to work, fail, and rise again, then anything is possible." And that small bakery in the mountain town became something more than a shop. It became a reminder that the biggest dreams often begin with the smallest chances.